we live as if time moves, as if it flows in one direction from past to future, carrying us forward like a river. But what if time doesn't move at all? What if, like space, time has dimensions? What if every moment that ever existed still exists? And what if your consciousness, who you really are, is not tied to your body in space, but to something deeper in time? In this video, we'll explore a radical but increasingly relevant possibility. That time has multiple dimensions, that consciousness is layered, spatial and temporal, and that we may all be expressions of a single temporal awareness, the universe itself. Imagine time not as a straight line, but as a three-dimensional volume. In physics, space has 3 degrees of freedom, up, down, left and right, forward, back. But time, we only treat it as one past to future. If time had 3 dimensions, it wouldn't just pass, it would surround us. You wouldn't travel through time. You'd be within a block of infinite temporal directions. This radically alters our concept of existence. All events, past, present and future, would already exist as points in a higher dimensional temporal space. You could, in theory, see not just forward or backward, but diagonally through time, encountering parallel events and alternative temporal possibilities. The flow of time would be an illusion, a limitation of our consciousness, like a 2-dimensional creature, unable to perceive the third spatial axis. Physicist Julian Barber proposes that change is real, but time is not. In his theory, every moment, the smile on your face, the death of a star, the birth of a galaxy, already exists eternally in a vast configuration space called Platonia. And yet, we only ever experience now. The past is only memory, the future is only concept. But the now is where your awareness lives. The paradox, a full temporal universe, but a consciousness confined to a single moment. To grasp this distinction, think about the difference between weight and mass. Mass is the actual quantity of matter in your body. It doesn't change whether you're on Earth, the Moon, or in space. Weight, on the other hand, is the force of gravity acting on your mass. It changes with your environment. People used to treat weight and mass as the same, but Newton revolutionized physics by separating them. Only once we understood mass as fundamental could we make breakthroughs in motion, inertia, and energy. Now apply that to time. What we call time is more like weight, a context-dependent measurement. The ticking of clocks, the duration of seconds, all of that is just a way of tracking change. The actual mass of time, if it exists, would be something deeper, a structure or substance that does not change from frame to frame. We've built modern physics around clock time, but perhaps that's like using weight to explain gravity. It may be that our science has plateaued because we're still calculating with the appearance of time, not its reality. We often think of consciousness as emerging from the brain, an epiphenomenon of neurons firing in space. But consider this, your body is constantly changing. Every cell, every atom, every molecule is replaced or rearranged over time. On a subatomic level, you're never the same person twice, and yet something in you feels the same. What if that something isn't spatial but temporal? Physical consciousness is tied to space, your cells, your brain, your biology, but temporal consciousness is tied to continuity. It's the thread of I that persists across changing experiences. You aren't just a mind in space, you might be a self in time. And this temporal self may not be produced by the brain, it may be the observer of the brain, the container for all of its changes. This theory bridges neuroscience, metaphysics, and even ancient spirituality. Kant described the self as a noumenal subject outside space and time, perceiving phenomena through mental filters. Advaita Vedanta refers to the Atman, an unchanging witness behind all thoughts. Neuroscience shows that our experience of time is highly elastic, yet the sense of self remains coherent. If physical consciousness is the body's expression in space, then temporal consciousness is its persistence in change. And just like weight is contextual, but mass is constant, perhaps temporal selfhood is the true continuity of identity. But here's the most profound possibility. What if there aren't many temporal selves, but just one temporal field flowing through every conscious being, one awareness fragmented by physical form but unified at its core? This would mean you and I are not separate consciousnesses, but localized expressions of a single temporal field. Just like neurons in the same brain, we each have our own perspective, but we're part of one larger observer, the universe itself. Consciousness doesn't emerge in time. Consciousness is time, or more precisely, the experience of change from within. This concept echoes through many traditions. In panpsychism, all matter possesses consciousness, suggesting a universal mind at its base. In Advaita Vedanta, Atman is Brahman. The individual soul is the same as the universal source. Alan Watts famously said, "You are something the whole universe is doing in the same way a wave is something the whole ocean is doing." And scientifically, perhaps the quantum field of time is like the Higgs field, something that pervades all space and carries the potential for sentience. If consciousness is the feeling of being located within a now, then one field could generate many perspectives, all unified by their shared presence in that field. There is no individual self. There is only the universal now, experiencing itself through a billion eyes. Let's bring this all together. Time may be multidimensional, not linear, and everything that exists may do so simultaneously in a temporal block universe. Our minds may not just live in space, but in time, and we may carry both spatial and temporal layers of consciousness. What we call me might just be one instance of a universal awareness, the one temporal self behind all things. If this is true, then physics and philosophy must evolve. Science must stop measuring time as a clock and begin exploring it as a field of awareness. Consciousness studies must embrace not just the brain, but the timeline the brain exists within. And spiritually, we may begin to feel not isolated, but unified. Each of us not separate minds, but faces of one timeless mirror. You are not in time. Time is in you. Measured time is not time. The real thing is within us. Subscribe for more explorations on time, consciousness, and the infinite self.